Hello, I'm Randy Hale. I'm the owner-chef of the Manzanita Restaurant in Cornville, Arizona, and we're here at the beautiful Arizona Game and Fish Department, Page Springs Hatchery. It's also in Cornville. A beautiful setting to do what we're doing today. We're going to talk about utilizing game meat, different ways that you can do it instead of making just hamburger or a chili or whatever. There's all sorts of ways to use different cuts of meat, the scraps and so on, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to do a schnitzel. Schnitzel is a German dish where you take a cutlet of meat and pound it out very thin, you bread it, and then you pan fry it real quick. And delicious meal. It's a nice way to use just little small scraps that you have of venison or elk or whatever you might have there. So we'll go ahead and start. Now I've got a venison leg right here, and you can see here's the big muscle. Okay, great. You can carve that off and make some nice steaks or whatever you want to do with it. But there was a little piece of meat back here that I was able to harvest. So I'm going to use that and show you how we're going to make a schnitzel here. Let me put the meat up. Okay, so you want to get the silver skin off of it, the connective tissue. Best way to do that, I just pin it down, and I take a knife, and you have to be obviously very careful here. I pin it down with my fingers. I'll take that knife and set in there, and I just start scooting away with it. And you can see I've got that. Now that scrap right there, I wouldn't throw that out because that's going to go great in some other dish. So I'm going to take this this piece of meat, and I want to oil it a little bit. So I'm just going to put some oil on it because that's going to help. There we go. And then I want to use a little bit of saran wrap. And the reason I like to use the wrap, I mean, you could even use a baggie and set it inside there, but that keeps it from splattering all over the place. Not that when you're out camping that's going to be a big issue, but if you're doing this at your house, someone in your family may appreciate not splattering oil and venison or whatever all over the kitchen. The other thing that putting it in some kind of a plastic wrap does is it allows it to spread out easily, and you can keep flipping it over, and that's how I like to do it. So I'm going to take this mallet, and I'm going to start. And what you're really doing is you're just trying to shape it. What I really want is for it to grow out into a nice shape, kind of like that, where it's real thin, but it's not broken. I want to be very careful not to tear the meat. So you have to really pay attention to what you're doing. So you just want to real gently pound it, and you can kind of shape it in the direction that you want. It's much like when I do construction work and I hit a nail and it bends, and then I have to sit here and go ding, 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 like that. You want to do the same thing. I want it to go this way, so I'm going to start right here and just kind of work my way out to it, and you can see that spreads that out. So this is what I'm looking at right here, nice thin cutlet, okay? And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dredge it in flour and bread it. So to do that, I'm going to have a seasoned flour, and I just put salt and pepper and a little paprika in there. I'm going to have breadcrumbs. Now, I like to use seasoned Italian breadcrumbs. You could use panko, you could use just regular breadcrumbs. Whatever you like is going to work fine on that. And then you need an egg wash. Now, how I do the egg wash is I'll just put a couple of eggs in here, and I'm going to take a utensil. I'm going to break them up and just whip it around. I like to whip it about 80 whips, about 30 seconds, you figure. And what that does is it really breaks down the fibers in that egg, and it makes it a smoother thing. If you don't, you end up with these little glummy things, and you can see different colors in there and all, but all right, so that's kind of where I want it, and I'm going to add a little bit of milk to it. So depending on how many schnitzels you're going to do, depends on how much milk and how many eggs and such you want to put. But this right here will be enough for our demonstration. Okay, so got that. I'm going to take I need to get my skillet hot. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on while I'm breading this. Let it be warming up. And you can use any oil you want. This is just a soy oil here. That works pretty well for it. You don't want to put a lot in. You're not trying to drown the schnitzel. You're just trying to put it in to where it kind of comes up, halfway, 3/4 of the way on the schnitzel itself. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to plop it in the flour. So you want to get the flour all over it, okay, so there's not bare spots. I'll shake off the excess flour. I'm going to put it in the egg wash. And here you want to try to get the egg wash to quit draining on it. So I find just slapping it against the side of that is good, because that constant dripping right there, when you put it in your breadcrumbs, it's going to cause your breadcrumbs to clump up if you're cooking many of these things. So I'm going to do that, and then you can press the breadcrumbs into this, or the old Swiss chef that showed me how to do this, he said you want to really get after it. You don't want to kill it, but beat it like that, and then so you've got it nice and coated like that. So we're good to go there. Okay, you shake off the excess, and you can tell when the oil is ready by shaking the schnitzel over it, and when the little breadcrumbs fall into it, you'll see them sizzle. And there we go. That's what I'm looking for. And it doesn't take long to cook a schnitzel like this. The meat is so thin. It cooks real quick. And so you want to make sure you don't burn it, so you have to keep turning it. And what you're looking for it to be a nice golden color there. So we're almost there. Pretty good with that. Flip it over. You only want to flip it once, because what's going to happen is if you flip it several times, it's going to get greasier than it would if you just flip it once. And you want the oil to be fairly hot. Not too hot, you're not trying to scald it, but you want it to be hot enough that it's going to start frying immediately. Okay, and the bottom is getting there. You can see and you don't want to stir this too much, but you do want to stir it, because most burners will have hot spots on them where one area of flame is more and another area is less. And if you just leave it sitting like that, what you're going to find is some areas aren't cooked as much as they should be. Some areas are burnt, some areas are cooked too much. And cooking a schnitzel is a real art. Trying to get it out of the pan after you've got it, you need to just slide your tongs in there and let it drain. And then I'm going to set it here for a second and just let that drain, and grab a plate. All right, now I'm going to put this on the plate, and I like to take a little lemon And I'm going to cut a little wedge of lemon here. And it's real traditional in Germany that you would take a lemon and squeeze that lemon juice right on it. You don't need the seeds. Get rid of those. It gives it a real nice flavor. So we'll put a little piece of garnish in here so it makes it look like we know what we're doing. And if you have a gravy, some kind of a beef gravy or whatever, this is a demi-glaze. You could use beef gravy, you could use a beef stock, whatever. That also is very nice to put on it, or put it on the side of the plate where you can just cut the meat and dip it in it. And then put a little parsley on it. And there you go. It's a venison schnitzel.